Good evening, everybody. My name is Stephanie Sullivan. I'm principal at Mountain View High School, and I'm excited to go through some of our new LEAP Center things that we have going on this year. Presenting tonight is Miss Amy Neerman and our IB coordinator at the building, Miss Jeannie Mills. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy. It looks like she's already started presenting her screen. I believe we're going to take some questions at the very end, but I just wanted to jump on and say hello and welcome you guys to this information night.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sullivan. Yes, we are ready to get started. This call is being recorded as well, and we will post the slides to the Stafford County website so that you can view them later if you have any additional questions. We are asking all participants to please keep your microphone muted and your camera off, as we expect a pretty good crowd this evening joining us. We will allow for questions at the end of the presentation, and we just ask that you pop those into the chat, and we will answer those both in the chat, and if there's a lot of questions being asked, the same questions, we're happy to answer those as well. So just to kind of focus off, reminding everybody of our amazing Elevate Stafford goals, we are here to provide meaningful post-secondary outcomes and choices for all students. And I think obviously our specialty centers are a great way to get that kicked off. We have high expectations and academic excellence for all of our students. We offer safe, engaging, and welcoming environments for our students, and we support and invest in all staff. So welcome to the LEAPS Leadership, Education, and Public Service Center presentation. We do have 4 main pathways in our LEAPS Specialty Center. So we are offering a pathway in civic leadership, a pathway in civic leadership with our IB diploma program, a pathway for Teachers for Tomorrow, and a pathway for law and criminal justice. We also do have sort of a 5th option, which is just our IB diploma program without the civic leadership as well. Tracy, did you want to talk a little bit about our civic leadership pathway?
Okay. As you can see in the 9th grade, you will start off with communication for leadership and public service, and then on to policy, advocacy, and ethics. 11th grade, community organization and advocacy with service capstone proposal. And then in the 12th grade, the leadership and public service seminar with the capstone presentation.
Thank you
and
so
then
much.
We have, the pathway 2 with the civic leadership with IB.
Right, so in that 9th and 10th grade year for this pathway, the students will take those same 2 leadership courses, the communication course, the policy, advocacy, and ethics course. And then in 11th and 12th grade, they will switch to our IB diploma program and fulfill all the requirements of the IB diploma program. Miss Jeannie Mills is going to talk to us in a moment about the IB diploma program. And she will answer all the questions that I'm sure that some of you may have about that.
Good evening. So with our IB diploma program, we use the term pre-IB courses when a student is going into the 9th and 10th grade. And really all of those courses are honors courses, whether that's through their core classes, so English, histories, science, and math. And then they also take world language across the 4 years that they'll be in high school. The IB courses come in their 11th grade year and 12th grade year. They are very challenging, rigorous, pretty much college level courses that happen during that time. And ultimately what somebody is attempting to do, what a student is attempting to do in the IB program is they're really trying to earn 2 diplomas. They are on the track to earn their advanced diploma from Mountain View High School and the state of Virginia, but then they're also attempting to earn their IB diploma from the International Baccalaureate, and that comes from a series of how their scores in their tests kind of happen and come together. The students will take, over the course of their 11th and 12th grade years, 5 two-year courses, and those are in English, history, science, math, and a world language. For us, that is French, Spanish, German. And then they have a 1-year elective that they can choose to do either in their 11th grade or 12th grade year. I have several students who do choose to take more than one elective because it gives them options for how they want to earn their diploma. But what makes the idea of somebody trying to earn an IB diploma as opposed to just taking IB classes, which are possible if somebody is zoned for Mountain View, is that we have the core to the program, and the core is a series. It's a 3-pronged approach with a class called TOK, CAS, and the EE, and all of those are part of what they need to do. What those things mean is on the next slide. It's the TOK is our theory of knowledge, and each thing that happens in IB is all about reflection. And we do care about grades, but we care more about the students gaining knowledge and questioning what they're learning, why they're learning it, and how they can apply what they're learning. So in the theory of knowledge, this is really training them to think very critically. And in the reflection piece of it, this is what they're doing in their critical reflection. CAS stands for Creativity Activity Service. And this is what I like to call the fun part of the program, is because they can really try and do all kinds of things. Ultimately, it is 18 consecutive months. So starting in their 11th grade year through about halfway of their senior year, doing different experiences. And that can be things that are creative or active or service orientated. And this is where they're getting their effective reflection. And then the third prong is what we call the EE, or the extended essay. This is a 4,000-word research-based essay that students do on a topic of their own choice, that they kind of choose something that is related to one of their courses that they're taking, or we also have a world studies that they can kind of do. But ultimately, this is where they're reflecting on the process of research. And so everything that's kind of within this program is really reflective. In the next slide, we have basically the benefits of doing the full IB program is that it really does prepare students for higher education. I have a lot of my students who will come back and let me know that they're not only did they receive a lot of college credit, but they have had a much easier time of transitioning into college level classes because they've kind of already been there in high school. It does focus on that critical thinking piece, like I said, that they get through theory of knowledge, but it also kind of opens them up for to being competent for the global issues that are kind of around the world, and really develops them as a whole learner as opposed to just in a one-on-one kind of one and done kind of class. It also gives them some college level research with the EE before they leave high school, and doesn't just dump them into college not knowing how to do all of that. It does weight their GPA. So IB courses have a 1 point extra grade. So an A in a regular class or even an honors class would weight as or an A- would weight as a 4.0. In an IB class, that would weight as a 5.0. And then ultimately, you can also get the possibility of college credit. Every college is different. And so students, I help them look to see what colleges they're interested in and what different colleges will accept. But that's kind of my role as well as the IB coordinator for them.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mills. Our next pathway is Teachers for Tomorrow. This program is really exciting because it's preparing our students to become future educators. 4 courses again in this pathway. So starting again with that communications course, like all of the other 9th graders, moving on to psychology, which is a very important course for our teachers. And then we have a 2-year sequence of our Teachers for Tomorrow courses, which are also dual enrolled through Germanna Community College. One of the many benefits of this program is that students will be involved in in the classrooms. So they will be completing observations in these classes. They will be really working hands-on in the teaching profession. They also have the opportunity to earn 6 college credits through those 2 dual enrollment classes, as well as add on additional college classes that will be accepted at Mary Washington. So we have an agreement between Stafford Schools, Germanna, and Mary Washington, where students can take their dual enrollment English, their United States history, a dual enrollment math course, and those Teachers for Tomorrow courses, and those will all be accepted by the University of Mary Washington toward their bachelor's degree. So a really exciting opportunity and pathway for our future teachers. Our next pathway is law and criminal justice.
Our law and criminal justice program starts with the pathway requirement, starting again with that communication and leadership and public service course, and followed with a good foundation in policy, advocacy, and ethics in 10th grade. We're really excited to complement our criminal justice 1 course in 11th grade, where students will have the opportunity to really look at law enforcement through the lens of policy and the executive office, and also complement that with the sociology course. And then finally, in the 12th grade year, the students will have criminal justice 2, which will have a more looking at the judicial system and laws in policy and justice. Super excited, and wanted to acknowledge one of our professional educators and retired police officer and veteran military, Mr. Robinson, who's one of the teachers of the criminal justice course, who is on the line and be able to answer questions about this sequence at the end of this presentation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Green. We appreciate that information. Just a final wrap up on a few housekeeping items, if you will, about our lottery application. So the first round of notifications did go out on February 5th. Final selection, the first round of final selections are due by February 21st at 12:00 p.m. You can log into your account, so that would be that stafford.schoolmint.com account at any point to see your offers, to accept offers, decline offers. Accepting an offer does decline all the other offers on your waiting list. So if you do decide you want to accept an offer, please do be aware that all of the waiting lists will be automatically declined for you, because you can only accept 1 offer per school year. Any offers that you receive after February 5th, so let's say you were on the wait list for our IB program, and then you received an offer on February 8th because somebody declined a seat, you have a certain number of days after that to accept that offer. It should be 16 days. But we just ask that you log into that account to check that expiration date, and that will be posted next to the offer. We are transporting all of our rising 9th and 10th grade students from their home to the new school, if that's not already their zone school, and home again. So all transportation is provided, and students will be fully transferred 9th and 10th grade students to the school that houses their program. So in this case, you would be transferring to be a full-time student at Mountain View High School. If you are a rising 11th or 12th grade student, you are still permitted to choose between travel or transfer for your programs. And again, transportation will be provided. Finally, it's really important to note that as you transfer to the school, so as you transfer to Mountain View, if that is not your zoned high school, all of your VHSL eligibility comes with you. So you will be eligible for sports, and you're setting that up at Mountain View High School. If you decide to leave the center or your pathway program at any point in the 4 years, you will have to return to your zoned high school if it is not Mountain View High School. That could affect your eligibility, so we just ask that you really look into that carefully and make that determination. If you decide that you'd like to transfer to a different pathway inside the center, you can make that request, and we'd be happy to honor those requests as long as we have space in those programs. All of the scheduling will be completed by the center counseling team. So if you are a rising ninth grader and you did your course selections already, the Mountain View counseling team will go ahead and schedule you for those courses, including those pathway required courses. And that concludes the information that we have this evening. So we'd love to address any questions that you have. Thank you so much for putting some really important links in the chat. If you do have specific questions after tonight, academic programs at staffordschools.net. Ms. Green has posted that in the chat. It's probably one of the easiest ways to get a hold of us for your questions. This, again, stafford.schoolmet.com is the login to check your application and accept or decline offers. And Ms. Green has also posted our program of studies that has all of those pathways listed in it. So let me just take a look and see if there's anything. The question that Kate had was about IB electives. So if you are LEAPS Center with IB, you'll take those 2 required courses in the 9th grade year. In 9th and 10th grade years, and then 11th and 12th, you switch fully to the IB diploma program courses. There aren't any center specific courses that you need to take. Options of full IB or nothing. Okay, so Beth, in the past, we would sort of try to work out a partial IB program, but because we are consolidating our IB program to one high school and we are trying to maximize the number of students that we take, if a student decides not to pursue the full IB diploma program and they're not zoned for Mountain View High School, they will need to return to their zoned high school. As Ms. Mills stated, though, if they are a Mountain View student, they can continue on at Mountain View High School, and they can take, if space is available, IB courses without being in the full IB diploma program. Kate, the slots are separated. So we ran a separate lottery for LEAP IB and then its own lottery for just IB diploma program without the LEAPS. So there are a really strong number of spaces. I don't have the exact number of spaces off the top of my head, but there are a nice amount of spaces because we separated those out. They technically, Beth, don't have to make a decision on the full IB diploma program until 11th grade, but if they're not zoned for Mountain View and they decided they didn't want to pursue that option, they would then need to return to their zoned high school. So that's a little bit, of a risky move. We wouldn't want any students to have to return to their high school. So it's important to try to make that decision up front as well. Go ahead, Ms. Mills. You don't have to raise your hand.
I didn't want to interrupt. I think it was Beth. Yeah. So Beth, with that answer as well, is the reason why we would like students to make this decision going into 9th grade is because there are certain classes that they will need to take in 9th grade and 10th grade to prepare them for the IB classes in 11 and 12. So yes, technically, if your student is zoned for Mountain View and there is space available when they're in the 11th grade, they wouldn't have to make that jump into full IB if they got through 10th grade and didn't have that. But if they don't have the classes to prepare for, let's say, IB history or IB biology, IB chemistry, then they wouldn't have that opportunity open to them.
Thank you so much, Mills. We also have the two IB groups are clustered together for their IB courses. And as much as possible for, English for all of the core courses as well in 9th and 10th grade, but definitely the groups are clustered together in 11th and 12th as they go through the full IB diploma program. Before I turn it over to hear some more information about our criminal justice program from Mr. Robinson, I just want to make sure I don't other questions that I can clear up. Any students can hop back and forth between a program as long as space is available. So if you get into, let's say, LEAPS leadership and you decide that maybe that's not the program for you, but you'd like to do full IB diploma program, if we have space available, we'd love to make that switch for you. And then again, with the leadership pathway, those students can take those other leadership courses junior and senior year, but IB is a packed schedule because of the rigor of the courses, and a lot of those courses are 2-year courses. So they don't have a lot of elective room left because there are IB specific electives, but if they did have space available, they are certainly welcome to take those 2 senior level courses or junior and senior level courses in the leadership pathway. But I will tell you, with theory of knowledge and CAS and extended essay, they were going to be doing so much of that same work. We mirrored sort of some of those junior and senior level course opportunities based on some of the great work that the students do in IB already. If a student is on the wait list for any one of our programs, I would sense that we will have a lot of movement around the 21st. So as we get close to the 21st, students will be probably accepting or declining things more rapidly, and I think waitlist spaces will open up quickly. If you're on a wait list, you are notified immediately when that spot opens up for you. So this process can continue for a little while. We definitely expect it to continue at least for the next month or so as students are accepting and declining offers and new students are being pulled off the wait list. Right now, there's a lot of students, I think, waiting to make that final decision until after these virtual meetings or maybe to see if a waitlist spot opens. So if you're on a wait list, I wouldn't lose heart. I think there still would be opportunities. But I don't want you to, not take a program that you might be interested in on the chance that you'd come off a wait list. So it's a little bit risky if there is an offer that you have. But those are decisions obviously you'll make as a family. So I'd love to turn it over to Mr. Robinson to see if he can give us some more specific information about our amazing criminal justice program.
Okay, well, what we try to do, the first level is basically just, I'm sorry, hold on. The first level is just organizational. It gets feedback when we get started. We start from the beginning. A lot of times we go to history of police, criminal justice, into then how the organizational of criminal justice, how it works. They'll get into the actual, how you say, hands-on part of criminal justice all through. But we also touch corrections. We also touch a little bit when it comes to outside other crimes that may happen. We touched on policy, search and seizure, things of that nature. Criminal justice too does get more into. We'll have a little more. We try to attack a little more forensics, but we piggyback on what we gave them in the first half, and we what we do is we extend it a little further than criminal justice too, where we get deeper into workplace readiness, things work, what we've taught them in criminal justice 1, how it relates to get into the field of criminal justice. And we try to give them different areas. Being that I was a former police officer, sometimes I try to shine away from the law enforcement side of it because I want them to understand there's other parts of criminal justice. As far as Ms. Nelson asked about, the networking part of it, we're trying. I spoke to Mr. Delcourt, and we're trying to see if we can get something started with Stafford County Sheriff Department, where I know they have a cadet system. The problem is, I think the cadets have to be a certain age. I know in ride-alongs they want you to be a certain age due to the fact that you could get into some things that are more of an adult nature. In other words, when we had ride-alongs where I was working in Maryland, you had to be at least 20, had to be at least 18 to ride along. So the problem is some juniors may not get that. Some seniors could. But we're trying to see if we can work that in. we need to do a little bit better job of networking with them so we can pull them into that. The cadet program, I believe, is mainly from them. We'd love to bring it into the school, but I think it's something that they have already started. We're trying to talk to bring that in. I believe we can, what Scott has been speaking to me about and what we're trying to do is get to an area where we can get more involved and get the kids that really want to do it. We get more involved with the inner workings of not just law enforcement, but the criminal justice system as a whole. Challenge their minds on different ideas, different things that are happening within, like in the country, and just going on in the world right now where it relates to criminal justice, because everything kind of reverts back to it. And so we really wanted them to understand, hey, with criminal justice, this is what touches you in your life. So, but it basically, that's what we do. Criminal Justice 1 is just the beginning. It's like the core of it. It gets you started, the discipline, and we touch every facet of it from the from educational to corrections to the hands-on approach to things, just the inner workings. Criminal Justice 2, we do that where we expand it and we go further into and deeper into just facts like policy, law, and things of that nature. As far as like search and seizure, we get deeper into it. So it's but we've been trying to, again, we're talking to expand it to do different things we have done before, some different texts maybe we're trying to get to. And I think we're doing it this way, bringing it to a pathway situation. The way we're doing it, I believe we'll get those students that are really want to get involved with criminal justice. We can do different things and bring more out of it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robinson. Certainly, we are excited about the passion that you bring to this program and are really excited with these 4-year pathways.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any additional questions? Oh, okay, hold on. Junior is interested in starting the pathway next year. Wants to know more. Okay, perfect. I think what you'll see too with all of our specialty centers is a lot more work with the community. So trying to really keep these students engaged in opportunities in our community with leaders. Obviously, the Sheriff's Department is a great fit for this particular program. Different businesses. So really trying to ensure the community is engaged and involved in what we do in our specialty centers as well. I don't see any new questions. If anybody else has anything, a full IB allowed for electives like band or chorus. Yes, absolutely. But you have to just be really careful. And I don't know if Ms. Mills wants to speak a little bit more about that, but definitely students do have room for electives throughout. There are some prescribed IB electives. So it's really important to sort of understand that as well. So Ms. Mills, did you want to add anything?
I think when we, it really depends on your student's schedule. There is definitely room for them to do it for all 4 years. With the full IB, pending what language your student is in, going into 9th grade, and then what math level they are, and what their goals are, they may have to double up, as we like to say, on a specific language or a math if they have different goals. But there is usually always room for band, chorus, orchestra, theater, art, if that's what they want to do. And we really try to make that happen, especially if students are wanting to do any of the fine arts as their elective. For their IB elective, because we do offer IB theater, IB visual art, and IB music. So we try to make that shift as well and make that happen for them.
Thank you so much. The center requirements, will they change? They may change if over time we see that the courses are not working as well as we thought. We might add some things in or make some shifts. But as of now, we really think that these are the appropriate pathways for our students to succeed in these programs. But as we get deeper in and if we find maybe something would work a little better, we certainly would not be opposed to making a shift for our students based on feedback. Any other questions that we can answer for you this evening? Just do want to remind you that if you think of things after the presentation is over, please feel free to email us at academicprograms@staffordschools.net. That email address is in the chat. Our program of studies, that link is also in the chat. That kind of walks you through some of these, the full program requirements. We just took snippets for the slides this evening. Those are, great places to go to seek more information. IB does have its own page as well. So there's further information about our International Baccalaureate program. The IB is a great place to go as well to find out great information about that program and that lens. But we thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know it's dinner time, so we are just happy to have you all here. We're happy that your students have an interest in our LEAPS program. And thank you so much for all of our presenters. We thank you so much, Sullivan, for being on tonight, our wonderful Mountain View High School principal, and for her support as well. But we wish you all a wonderful evening. And again, this presentation will be posted on our website, and feel free to reach out if you think of additional questions.